In the year 1026, the Italian peninsula was defined by isolation. Societal power and geographic reach were strictly bound to the heavy stone walls of local castles, and the villages clustered directly beneath them. Survival required overcoming immense physical friction. Moving goods to the next valley could consume weeks of travel over unpaved tracks, and every calorie of food was extracted through manual human labor. Human activity operated at the mercy of the solar cycle. Without artificial light, commerce and movement came to a total stop the moment the sun fell below the horizon. To live in early Italy was to live within narrow boundaries. Life was a series of limitations on speed, distance, and the immediate availability of power. 1,000 years later, almost all of those constraints have vanished, replaced by high-speed movement and 24-hour electrical connectivity. The skyline of modern Rome reveals this change. The medieval footpaths are buried beneath dense infrastructure and a national high-speed transit grid. This infrastructure rewrite is so comprehensive that virtually no operational systems from 1026 are still used to run the country today. This creates a puzzle. If a nation paves over its physical landscape and completely replaces its survival tools, does its original cultural identity actually remain intact? The first major shift was the systematic elimination of physical distance. A journey that once took weeks can now be completed in a few hours. High-speed rail allows citizens to traverse the entire peninsula at hundreds of kilometers per hour in climate-controlled comfort. In the countryside, manual tools have been replaced by heavy machinery. These blue tractors manage vast tracts of earth with a level of efficiency that was impossible for the medieval farmer. Agricultural management has moved toward autonomous systems. Drones now monitor the health of vineyards that once required constant, back-breaking oversight from dozens of laborers. Human health is no longer dependent on local physical resilience. Instead, it relies on advanced medical engineering and imaging technology within these highly controlled environments. Knowledge has undergone a similar transformation, moving from the scarce medieval classroom to a ubiquitous, digitally connected education system accessible to every student. Modern technology has effectively solved the geographic and survival struggles that defined the first half of this millennium. Italy scaled its once fragmented economy into a globally connected network. Commercial aviation now moves millions of annual visitors over the same alpine peaks that used to serve as impenetrable physical barriers. These modern transit hubs act as bridges, linking the Italian peninsula directly to the centers of the global economy. The legacy of the local artisan has transformed into a global fashion industry, where Italian design and aesthetics are exported to every corner of the planet. Local movement has also modernized, with electric vehicles and sustainable infrastructure replacing the primitive energy sources of the past. The nation integrated into the global grid by becoming a primary exporter of high-end design and economic influence. Despite this total overhaul of infrastructure and industry, specific cultural behaviors have remained remarkably resistant to change. While the tools to automate this exist, these ancient recipes are still prepared by hand. These culinary traditions have survived intact to become globally recognized identifiers of the nation. The medieval market functioned as a primary site for community bonding, serving a social purpose that outweighed the mere exchange of goods. Modern cafe culture fulfills that same social role. The cobblestone streets still host outdoor tables where the primary activity is communal interaction and observation. The simple, analog act of sharing food remains the primary driver of interpersonal connection, operating independently of the digital world. Every tool of survival evolved, but the underlying human intent, the need for food, community, and gathering, has been rigorously protected. This millennium of change is written into the landscape. Ancient landmarks still anchor the modern city, forcing the new world to build around the old. You see it in this physical overlap, where ruins from a previous era stand shoulder to shoulder with modern glass and concrete. This persistence of social rituals, from the handmade meal to the outdoor gathering, suggests that a society can adopt high-speed technology without surrendering the specific habits that define its identity. We are left to choose between two versions of the same place: the slow, grounded simplicity of the past, or the frictionless, high-speed reality of the present. If you were traveling through this millennium, which era would you choose to visit? Tell us your choice in the comments.